Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all. Okay, boleh dengar semua?
Boleh.
Boleh, sir.
Okay, thank you. So untuk hari ni kita akan masuk kepada subtopik ketiga untuk bab 9, which is the chapter 9 entitled Earth. So before we proceed to the next for the today's subtopic, so let's recap for the previous subtopic that we already learned before. Before that, you can refer to your textbook page 263 for today's subtopic. So we go through first the recaps. Okay, in the previous class, we already learned about the composition of the Earth. So as you can see here, Earth crust is formed from various types of rocks. So we already learned that we have three types of rocks, which are igneous rocks, sedimentary rock, and metamorphic rock. And then we learned about the characteristic of each rock. So as you can see here, the igneous rock formed from cooling and freezing of magma and lava, and contain various minerals. And then for the sedimentary rock, formed by compression of deposited material, many layers, hollow, and have fossils. And for the third type of rocks, which is metamorphic rock. So the characteristic of this rock is actually the metamorphic rock formed when 1 and 2, which is igneous rock or and sedimentary rock exposed a very high pressure and temperature. So the keyword for this kind of metamorphic rock is they are exposed to very high pressure and temperature. So because of this situation, the metamorphic rock is harder compared to its original rock. So which means, yes, we know that igneous rock and sedimentary rock is already harder. It's already hard. But when it comes to the metamorphic rock, it is harder compared to the both igneous and sedimentary rock. Jadi di sini kamu dapat lihat metamorphic rock ni dia adalah lebih keras daripada igneous rock dan sedimentary rock. Sebab metamorphic rock ni dia terdedah dengan dia terhasil apabila batu ini terdedah dengan tekanan dan juga suhu yang tinggi. Okay, and then this shows you the process of rock formation. So as you can see here, this shows you how the igneous rock, metamorphic rock, sedimentary rock produce. So as you can see here, igneous rock, if we refer here, form from cooling and freezing of the magma and lava. So as you can see here, this is igneous rock. This magma, when we refer to the lava is the original form of magma, but we call it as lava when the magma out from the volcanoes. This is a volcano. So once you see here, once the magma out from the volcano, so we call it this kind of liquid, this yellowish liquid, we call it as a lava. Kita panggil yang ini adalah lava setelah dia keluar dari gunung berapi. So it exposed to the exposed from the cooling and freezing situation, and then it will form an igneous rock. And then for the sedimentary rock happen, there is a weathering and erosion happen at the surface of the earth, so it will transport and deposit to the sea, to the lake, and then this kind of process will take around maybe 1,000 years, and it will form a sedimentary rock. Then both of the sedimentary rock and the igneous rock, both will compaction and cementation. Burial high temperature and pressure. Burial ni maksud di dalam tanah lah, and then exposed to the high pressure and pressures, high temperature and pressures. So it form a metamorphic rock. And then both of the sedimentary and metamorphic rock ni we slow uplift to the surface, and then you can collect the rocks. Inilah cara macam mana proses pembentukan batu-batu ini. Okay, so far boleh faham yang cikgu recaps ni?
Tak faham sikit.
Yang mana tak faham? Ini?
Yang sebelum dia kutip batu tu.
Yang mana satu? Ini ke yang ni?
Yang ni.
Oh, kalau yang ini,
Bukan yang ni.
So for this one, if you want to understand about the batu ni kan, so kita ada igneous rock, sedimentary rock dengan metamorphic rock ni, awak kena tengok dia punya keywords here. Macam igneous rock ni, cooling and freezing. Maksudnya dia terbentuk daripada penyejukan dan juga pembekuan magma tu, iaitu magma ni ialah datang dari gunung berapi ni. Ni. Macam di negara kita Malaysia tak ada gunung berapi, jadi disebabkan itu kita tak nampak benda ni. Tapi dia terbentuk bila dia keluar, bila dia membeku, menyejuk, dia akan bentuk batu igneous rock. Sedimentary rock ni pula dia adalah berlaku disebabkan compression. Compression ni ialah mampatan daripada deposited material. Maksudnya ialah batuan-batuan yang jumpa di permukaan bumi, apabila hujan dia akan mengalir semua kan, dia akan terenap, dan proses yang lama ini akan membentuk batu sediment ataupun sedimentary rock. Itu sebab awak tengok kenapa dia hollow. Hollow ni ada ruang. Have fossils ni maksud dia ada fosil tulang begitu. Sebab bila dia mengalir dibawa oleh air sungai dan tu, dia akan bawa juga semua ni fosil, ruang-ruang ni semua. Bagi metamorphic rock ni, dia bermaksud batu yang igneous ni ataupun batu sedimentary rock ni, dia ni terdedah dengan tekanan dan suhu yang tinggi. Ini pun proses yang mengambil masa beribu-ribu tahun. Sebabkan dia terdedah dengan pressure dan temperature yang tinggi, then it will form a new metamorphic rock, di mana dia adalah lebih lebih keras berbanding dengan batu-batu original dia, maksud batu ni dengan batu ini. Okey, boleh. Yang gambar ini just hanya tuliskan proses dia menggambarkan proses bagaimana formation tu, rock formation tu berlaku. Rock formation tu berlaku. Bagaimana rock tu berlaku, batu tu berlaku. Boleh faham?
Boleh.
Okey. Apa ni? Saya nak tanya igneous rock dengan obsidian sama ke tak? Sebab obsidian disebut lava dengan air. Obsidian tu apa? Obsidian tu apa? Tak apa, nanti saya tengok balik. Okay, so we proceed to the next subtopic for today. So because for today, I am going to cover two subtopics, which are the main processes of the Earth, and the next subtopic would be this one, Geohazard Phenomena. Okay, so we will go through one by one the main processes of the Earth. So you can refer to your textbook, page 263. So as you can see from your textbook, the thing that you are going to learn in this subtopic is you should know to explain the different Earth processes that affect the changes on Earth, and then communicate about the exogenic and endogenic processes. So in this subtopic, the two main processes of the Earth that you are going to learn exogenic process and endogenic process. So what's the difference between both exogenic and endogenic processes? So as you at the first side, you can see here the difference is exo and endo. So when we refer to the exo means outside, and endo refer to the inside. So means that exogenic processes ni happen outside of the earth. And when we refer to outside of the earth, it means that not inside of the earth. So it means the surface, earth surface. While for the endogenic, it will happen inside of the earth. So it means not in the surface, but inside of our earth. So as you can see here, exogenic occur on Earth's surface, while endogenic caused by the forces from within the Earth and forms and changes the Earth surface. Jadi dekat sini exogenic ni berlaku di permukaan bumi ataupun di luar daripada bumi kita. Maksudnya di permukaan. Manakala endogenic ni berlaku di dalam bumi kita. Dalam, bukan di permukaan. So the examples of exogenic process are weathering, dulu hawa lah, erosion ni hakisan, and then transport and sedimentation. Transport and sedimentation ni ialah apa ni orang panggil? Susutan jisim dan susutan darat ataupun no. Dia ialah angkutan dan pengenapan. Angkutan, transport is angkutan and sedimentation is pengenapan. Mass and land depletion ini ialah jisim dan apa ni? Jisim darat. Susutan jisim dan susutan darat. For endogenic process, the examples are mental convection process. Mental convection process ni in bahasa we call it as the process olakan mental. And then earth crust movement. Earth crust movement is pergerakan kerak bumi. And then the third one is magma activity, iaitu activity magma. When we refer to the magma, means that magma can be found in the mantle. Mantle is one of the layer in our earth. We got 3 layers: crust, mantle, and core. So mantle is one of the layers of our earth. Okay, and then we go through the exogenic. So weathering. Weathering, macam saya cakap tadi, in bahasa we call it as lulu hawa. Okay, fragmentation and decomposition are due to changes in temperature, rainwater, frosting, and microorganisms. Maksudnya fragmentation ni macam pemecahan lah, kemudian macam apa ni, penguraian. Due to changes in temperature, rainwater, frosting, and microorganism means berubah akibat daripada suhu, hujan. Frosting ni ialah apa ni, tindakan frost lah, biasanya sejuk tu yang bentuk-bentuk ais tu, and then microorganisms. Okay, so actually this process to around for 100 years to happen, not like you just exposed to the temperature, the different temperatures. So hot and dry for one day, it will change the rock. No, not something like that. This process will take around maybe 100 years or maybe 1,000 years. And then kalau tengok dekat sini, tengok. This shows you the example of how the weathering change the shape of the rocks. So water collects in rock crack, and then water freeze and expands, forcing crack to widen. So jadi kat sini water freeze because due to the temperature, so the water freeze. And then it can cause the frosting, and then forcing crack to widen. Ice tolls, contracts, and water gets deeper into cracks again. And then the repeated expansion and contraction causes further cracks the rock splits. Jadi awak dapat tengok proses-proses inilah yang menyebabkan uh, the changes, the fragmentation and decomposition happen to the rocks. So the water collects. It's a rainwater. Temperature cause the freeze. And then it will expand, forcing crack to widen. And then microorganisms ni benda lain pula lah. And then frosting. Frosting ni because of the different temperature. So it can so macam apa ni, frosting ni biasa berlaku pada waktu pagi lah, sejuk-sejuk macam tu. And then second one is erosion. Erosion where the eroding of Earth's surface and by moving agents such as water, wind, and wave. So you can see here, this shows you the picture how the erosion can cause the changes of the rock. So tengok ni, eroding of a surface by moving agents. When we refer to the moving agents, means that all of these are the of the agents, and all of these agents can move. Water can move, can flow. Wind also can move. Wave also can move. And all these moving agents can cause the erosion happen, and it will erode the earth surface. So something like that. As you can see here, this is the rock somewhere around the sea. So as you can see here, because of the moving agents such as wave, it changed the shape of the rock. And then finally, there is no more rocks here. And this process, this is a long process, not like so today you see that this is the shape of the rock, and then tomorrow you will see the different shape. No, it will take around 100 or maybe 1,000 years, or maybe more than 50 years, something like that. Okay, boleh setakat ni?
Faham.
Okay. And then we got the transport and the sedimentation. Material move by agents. So this is also the moving agents, running water, wave. And the material sediment when velocity of agent decrease. Okay, ini dia merujuk kepada moving agents juga, macam air mengalir ataupun wave. Then all those materials will form a sediment when the velocity of agents decrease. Maksudnya agents ni running water with the velocity of the agents ni decrease. Air tu jadi perlahan, so it will cause this kind of sediment. No, this is all the sediments, and then this is all the materials, and because of the running agents such as running water and wave, it will transport all the materials and form the sediment. And when the velocity of agents decrease, so it will form a sediment like this one. Like this one. Ini biasanya berlaku banjir lah. Bila air mengalir dia bawa semua. Tapi bila air tu dah perlahan, semua dia bentuk sediment. Kat situ jadilah awak kena cuci. Awak kena cuci apa tu? Rumah awak yang penuh dengan sediment, iaitu tanah-tanah ni lah. Macam tu. And then we got the apa ni? Mass and land depletion. Iaitu sesutan jisim dan sesutan darat. This is a soil movement from top of a slope to below, and this is a result of gravitational force. So for example, as you can see here, apa ni, landslide. This is a result from the mass and land depletion. So the soil movement from top of the slope to below. Movement from top to below means that this will follow the gravitational force. Dia akan ikut gaya tarikan graviti. All the materials on this earth will force to the center of the earth, because all of those materials will follow the gravitational force. That's why bila awak jatuh ke bawah, not jatuh ke atas. Sebab this is all from the gravitational force. Inilah dia when we refer to the mass and land depletion. The best example is landslide. So if you can see the landslide happen, so the landslide will happen, the soil will move from top of the hills to the below. Okay, so we've done with the exogenic processes and their examples. So we continue to the endogenic. We got the mantle convection process. Okay, when we refer to the mantle convection process, the high temperature in mantle and core produces convection currents. So because of this convection current, it will be a reason to move the earth crust. So as you can see here, apa ni? So as you can see here, this is the asthenosphere. So we already learned that the mantle contains of 3 layers, which is the lithosphere. Let's we refer to this one first. This one. 3 main layers. We got mantle. We have a lithosphere, asthenosphere, and mesosphere. So actually, for the this is our mantle. Lithosphere is the outermost layer. Asthenosphere is the middle layer, and the mesosphere is the innermost layer. As we can see here, there will be a convection current in the asthenosphere in mantle, and because of this convection current, it will also cause the lithosphere. So lithosphere ni including the outermost layer of the mantle and the crust. So it will cause the lithosphere and the crust also move, and this can cause the movement of the crust plate, continental crust. Continental crust itu yang menyebabkan dia bergerak. Okay, and then apa ni? Jadi ini adalah proses di mana mantle convection process tu berlaku. So as you can see here, the convection currents, this is the plate, this is the oceanic crust. Oceanic crust ni ialah apa ni? Di bahagian laut lah, and then the continental crust ni dekat bahagian daratan. So because of the convection currents happen in the asthenosphere, in the mantle, so it will cause the earth crust will also move. Okay, and the earth crust movement. And the second example of endogenic process is the earth crust movement. As you can see here, earth crust is divided into several pieces of plates. Maksudnya bumi kita ni, kerak kita ni terdiri terbahagi kepada beberapa lapisan plat. Theory of plate tectonics. So this is the result in collision and divergence. Jadi because of the collision of the earth crust plate tu, jadi ini akan menyebabkan semua ni berlaku. Pergerakan tanah. Ada yang gerak ke atas, ada yang gerak ke bawah, ada yang begini, ada yang begini. Jadi because of this collision, So you can see that there's several piece of plate. You can see ada yang ke atas, ke bawah dan bergerak macam tu lah. And then the divergence of earth crust tu maksudnya yang macam saya cakap tadi tu lah, yang ni. Yang bergerak secara mendatar ni. So jadi bila dia bergerak secara mendatar, and then so dia akan menyebabkan actually the movement of the pieces of plates ni or the divergence of the earth crust ni will cause some kind of the earthquakes. Earthquakes, and it will also change the shape of the surface of our earth. And then we got the magma activity. So when we refer to the magma activity, this is all related to the yellowish liquid come from the mantle. Okay, so as you can see here, this is a magma. So this is the situation when the volcano mengeluarkan apa tu? Magma dia. Meletup lah kata. So so the volcano vent on the earth crust, molten and hot magma flow out in a strong eruption, and the erupted material will form the volcanic cones. So the volcanic cones ni is created from the molten and hot magma flow out in the strong eruption. So all these erupted material ni will form a volcanic cones. So the magma activity also can give some effect to the surface of the earth. But because the magma activity is come from the inside of the earth, so this is also included in the endogenic process. Sebab dia dari dalam bumi. Dia bukannya magma yang datang dari permukaan bumi, but dari dalam bumi. Nampak? Lama-lama dia membeku. Lama-lama dia boleh membentuk ni, dan ini juga kita panggil sebagai igneous rock. Okay, boleh faham? Okay, so kita akan teruskan kepada the next subtopic, which is the geohazard phenomena. So when we refer to the geohazard phenomena, it shows you the consequences, kesan of the endogenic process. So the first one is the volcanism. The consequences of the endogenic process, the first example is the volcanism ataupun gunung berapi. And then earthquake. This shows you the earthquake happens somewhere in Japan. And this is the aftermath of the earthquake. So you can see the destruction of the house, of the buildings in the neighborhood. So kita bersyukurlah sebab Malaysia tak ada gempa bumi yang teruk macam ni. And kita tak melalui situasi yang macam ini. And then tsunami. So this shows you the tsunami. So the tsunami is something that we call a big wave come from the ocean or from the sea. So we attack the beach and will destruct all the buildings and will kill all the people around it. So tengok ni. It will transport all the things, all the transports, buildings and all the rubbish, everything they will the tsunami will transport all and destroy the place lah. This shows you the big wave. In this kind of big wave, we call it as a tsunami. So dekat negara kita pernah berlaku dulu pada tahun 2004. Because of the earthquake happened somewhere in the Indian Ocean near the Aceh. So we also get the kind of tsunami from that uh, disaster. And then other geohazards such as a globe landslide. So this is a landslide. The landslide happen. Even the landslide we include to the consequences of the endogenic process, because the landslide happen due to the movement of the tectonic plate, the crust movement, and then the sinkhole, lubang besar ni, because of the movement of the earth crust, so it will form the sinkhole, maybe in the middle of the road. The global warming also. The global warming means that the temperature of the earth change globally, and then because of the increase of the temperature, and then it will and besides the the number of carbon dioxide is increased in our atmosphere, it will also cause the global warming. Okay, besides that, quicksand ataupun tanah jerlus, ataupun tanah jerlus kau panggil. Ya, yeah, tanah jerlus. Usually occur in wetlands. Uh, actually this quicksand is very dangerous if happen to you, like this one. Kalau terjadi, dia akan tarik awak masuk ke dalam dan mungkin awak terkubur terus. So and then acid rain usually occur in industrial area. This is happen because the acid rain happen because in industrial area got so many pollutants. So when the rain comes, all the pollutants will dissolve in the rain water, and it will cause the acid rain. And result of the acid rain, it can kill all the plants, something like this one. So because of this apa ni, because of the consequences of the endogenic process, so the invented of the science and technology use, so the science and technology can be invented to prepare for the geohazard. So as you can see here, we got the active wave guide with sensor attached. So actually the wave guide ni for this one, to detect the apa ni, to detect the landslide. This is the device to detect the landslides. And this one is the apa ni? Placed on the slope of hills to give early warnings of landslide. So this is the sensor system lah to detect the landslide. So it will give you an early warning. So when you got the warning, so you can do a preparation to face the landslides, or maybe to avoid from the landslide to happen. Okay, and then we also got the tsunami warning system, TWS, where the TWS is placed at the shoreline to give early warning via satellite. So means that the satellite is needed for us to get to receive the early warning. So as you can see here, the TWS will place at the shoreline. So this is a shoreline. So when there is a tsunami happen somewhere in the ocean, so this TWS will give an early warning via GPS satellite. So this apa ni, GPS wave meter will send the data to the satellite, and the satellite will transmit the data to the land station. So the land station will receive the warning. So once the land station receive the warning, so they can give the warning to the people who live apa ni, who live along the beach to get prepared or maybe to evacuate the beach or evacuate the place, so they can avoid from the tsunami to attack them. Macam tu. Jadi dengan adanya apa ni, warning ni, orang akan dapat selamatkan diri dahululah, instead of when the tsunami already comes in front of you, so you don't have time anymore to save yourself. So maybe it cause a lot of 1,000 people kills during the tsunami attacks. And this is also the earthquake detector. So the earthquake detector as an earthquake warning system. So if there is a, so dengan adanya earthquake detector ni, orang boleh baca lah berapa kekuatan dia punya tu. Selalu awak tengok kat TV, you will give the skala, dia punya scale, maybe 9.2 Richter scale kan, skala Richter. So dengan adanya ni, orang akan tahulah ada gempa bumi berlaku. Okay, so far any questions? So as you can see in the page 267 shows you the impact of geohazards. So geohazards such as tsunami and earthquake can cause loss of life, diseases, starvation, and damage to properties. So we should sympathize with and assist victims of environmental disasters. So kalau tengok dekat situ, there will shows you the extracted newspaper about the geohazards happen in Malaysia. So the first one is the 43 Malaysians killed by tsunami wave, which was happened back in 2004. And then the earthquake on Mount Kinabalu happened back in June 2015, and the occurrence of mudslide in Cameron back in 2016. Jadi semua tu adalah contoh-contoh geohazard lah yang berlaku di negara kita. So we as a human should sympathize with and assist victims if we can do so. Okay. Ada soalan? So far faham?
Faham, sir.
Okay. So before we end of our topic for today, so let's recap our today's lesson. So for today, we learned about the two main processes of the earth. We got the exogenic process and endogenic process. So exogenic occur on a surface. The examples are weathering, erosion, transport and sedimentation, and mass and land depletion. For endogenic, caused by the force within the earth, and it can cause the changes on the earth's surface. Examples are mantle convection process, earth crust movement, and magma activity. And these are the examples of exogenic process. So we got the erosion, this one, and then we got the exogenic, and we got the transport and sedimentation. This is the aftermath of the transport and sedimentation process, and then mass and land depletion, such as landslide. For endogenic, we got the mantle convection process, where the convection current happen in the asthenosphere in mantle can cause the movement in the lithosphere and the earth crust. So it can cause the movement of the earth crust. So itu yang kita nampak macam pergerakan bumi. And then the earth crust movement, we got the collision and the divergence. Collision itu yang jadi tanah bergerak, something like that. And then the magma activity, it will cause the volcanic cones. And then we also learn about the geohazard phenomena, so the consequences of the endogenic process such as volcanisms, and then earthquake, and then tsunami, and then landslide, sinkhole, global warming, and quicksand. and include the acid rain. So because of the technology and the new invention of the science and technology, so you can it can apa ni, menyediakan apa ni, it can create, we can create the machines to prepare for the geohazard. So we got the sensor system for the landslide, and then tsunami warning system to detect the tsunami, and then earthquake detector to detect the earthquake, so we can do a preparation before the earthquake happen. Uh, that's all. Okay, so if you have any question to ask, just telegram me and just ask me in the telegram. Lepas tu nanti soalan tadi tu siapa yang tanya tadi ya? Ni igneous rock dengan obsidian ni nanti saya tengok balik. Okay, kalau tak ada soalan, okay, that's all for today. Kejap. Okay, thank you. Tapi